You're listening to the Black Minds Matters podcast in association with WCEN. Hey, what's up? This is Peaks. You are listening to the Black Minds Matters podcast show in association with WCEN. I am also joined with...
Mr. X, what's good?
What's good, Mr. X? How are you today?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Good. The sun's out, so I'm just chilling like a villain. I know it's not point me saying the sun's out because I can't even go out and enjoy it.
You can dip your toe in the garden.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, everything's everything in it. So yeah, what's good today?
Yeah, and don't forget you can go for a little walk for you got your hour exercise. You can use that little ration for it. But anyway, it's all good. So we are the Black Minds Matter podcast. If you are listening for the first time, we have put together this podcast show to raise the spirits and have a diversity of young voices that are currently not being heard. We want you guys to share this platform and share your needs and experiences of what's happening in the communities during this lockdown, these global events that are happening. Different things are going on for different people, so we want to find out how people are coping, how people are in these current situations. Do you have any advice? We want to talk to people like who are maybe working in the healthcare profession. If you're an artist, if you're a poet, if you're a musician, it doesn't matter who you are. This is your platform to come and share your tips, your advice, and your story. So on today's podcast, we are going to be joined by Fela Adebeyi. He was raised in Hackney in East London. He's of Nigerian descent and has an extensive international experience as a yoga teacher. Registered with the Yoga Alliance, he's lived in places like Shanghai for many years. He lives the yogic principles in all areas of life. He teaches others to open up to new perspectives in their lives in areas of self-care, relationships and nutrition for mind, body and spirit. So please welcome Fela. So how are you doing? How are you doing today, sir?
I'm good.
You're
Ready.
good.
How you doing, fella? Wow. I ain't spoken to this guy for a minute. But I've been watching your videos though, bro.
And we will take a little sneaky peek, but before we get into the whole, you sound so zen right now, which goes for your yoga principles and everything like that. But if you want to give everybody a bit of background on kind of who you are, where you kind of grew up and how you kind of came into this life and everything in between up until this kind of lockdown happened.
That's a lot.
You have a lot to share.
Well, I've been taking photographs, been a photographer for about, since I was 12, so maybe like 30 years.
Wow.
And I worked in London as a freelancer for 10 years. And before that, I was a printer, a black and white fine art photography printer. And then somehow I always used to do yoga. So I always used to practice yoga. And so I kind of, what happened was with the yoga kind of took over from the photography. And I started teaching. And I got into teaching from a teacher of mine and a friend who was living in Shanghai. So so from teaching yoga and doing photography, I spent many, many years working on those two areas. Growing up in London, grew up in London. Was in London for, God, how long? Well, most of my life. I went to school in London. And then from that, I ended up doing photography.
So what inspired you to pick up a camera, first of all? I mean, you grew up in Hackney. Who kind of introduced you to pick up a camera?
Well, I went to a boarding school in Suffolk from the age of 10 to 15. And at school, we had a photo club. So by the age of 12, I joined the photo club. And from there, I just got really into it. I really enjoyed taking pictures and taking black and white pictures at that time. And that's what really inspired me, just the photography club. And then when I left school, at 16, I came back to London, and then I went to university and did a degree in photography. So I spent like 5 years studying photography.
What was your kind of things that kind of captured your eye? What did you use to take pictures of?
So when I was freelance, I would take pictures of a lot of music bands. So I've taken pictures of like artists like Nas, De La Soul.
You're just gonna drop some names like that. How did you get to meet these people?
I worked for a magazine called Touch,
Wow, Touch magazine.
and I also was working for Columbia Records at the same time. Like, so I did a lot of I had a lot of artists, and then doing also bands as well, and then some bands for Mr. X.
Oh, yeah, that's how we.
Yeah, we're going to get into that in a minute.
Yeah, we have a bit of history. But yeah, so carry on there with your photography stuff.
Yeah, so doing photography was fantastic, but in that industry, people don't pay you on time. So for me, it was great meeting all these artists and shooting, but the yoga was always there. So what happened was a friend of mine offered me an opportunity to teach, and at first I said no, and then I went on and started to teach. So what I did then, I was teaching so that I had regular money coming in, and at the same time I would pick and choose which photography gigs I would take.
So, can I ask that the classes that you were teaching at, what size? So, what kind of amount of people was you teaching for? You being offered a job straight away to teach, basically? Because I would think, okay, you need to kind of work your way up. And was it what kind of like size class would you normally teach at that early stage?
So it was back in 90. Let me see, God, say like 96 or something like that. I think I was teaching, and there were maybe like 20 to 30 people in the class.
Wow,
That's a lot.
Yeah, it was about 20 to 30 people in the class, and
so people was into it back then as well. Like, wow.
there was only a few places back then there were only a few places that had classes. Like now, when I'm back in London now, and then there's yogas everywhere.
Wow,
But
yeah.
back few places that actually offered yoga.
Same.
How did you get into the routine of it, and what was your progression? How did you actually learn it to a point where, okay, I can actually teach it now?
So I used to practice in a place in Bethnal Green, and I was practicing a style of yoga called Ashtanga yoga. It was a Mysore practice, and that meant I would go in every morning at like 6 in the morning.
Wow.
And practice from 6 to maybe like 8:30. And there was a group of other people there who was also practicing. A lot of them were teachers. So, and I was also an assistant there. So basically my teacher, I was assisting him. So he would, every morning I would maybe assist him for an hour. So he would teach me how to adjust people, how to put them in the correct positions. And so that's how I got to know all the other teachers in the room. So those other teachers would offer me classes maybe they didn't want to do anymore. So I didn't actually wasn't trained in like certifiedly trained, but I was trained by my teacher.
Did you ever have to go and do any kind of certification, or did the work just kind of like do it itself?
The work was coming in, and at that time, a lot of the classes were in gyms. So if you wanted to work in a gym, you would need to have insurance. And to have insurance, you would need to be certified. So what I did, I took myself off to Bali for 6 weeks, and then did a yoga certification there.
So why did you choose Bali, and how did you even come to know about that and to be able to just go there?
originally I wanted to go to India. There was a 6 months course, and that would be living in an ashram, which is like a spiritual school.
Okay.
And but I could never find the 6 months to go and do it. So I found out. I don't know how I found out about Bali. I'm not sure. Maybe online or something like that. Or someone told me, and then I applied for that course and then went there, and it was amazing. It was amazing, like, to spend, like, 1 month practicing and learning every single day. But before I left, I already had like 7 years under my belt.
Wow.
Of teaching. So it was quite nice because I had a lot of questions because I'd already been teaching. So I had loads of questions. So I found it really useful.
Doing yoga, does that come part and parcel with educating yourself on your diet and health, or can you do yoga without even having to worry about all that?
I think it comes part and parcel because you're working on your body in a physical way and mentally as well. So if you're putting garbage in that body, then you're kind of defeating the purpose of like what you're doing. Because yoga is not just about a body, but it's also about your mind. And I think food is like an energy. So if you're putting this like bad stuff in your body, then it's going to affect your mind as well. So basically, once I started doing yoga, the first time I went to class, I felt so amazing after the class. It was unbelievable. And then I continued to go like once a week when I first was going. And then I used to I think I missed the classes a few times. And then I asked myself, there's something missing in this week. I don't feel the same.
Mm.
Then I realized that when I missed the yoga, my week didn't kind of flow. I wasn't in that flow. So then I realized that this practice was really powerful. And then I started to read more and more about the practice. And then there were lots of things about diet and what to eat. And then from that time, I kind of went vegetarian. So I stopped eating meat. And it really, really was a real benefit to my body and my mind. I just started thinking differently. I felt much lighter, clear. There was more clarity. Yeah, so it was amazing. I mean, I think when I come back to London, because now originally I'm based in Shanghai, which I'll come on to that later.
Yeah. Definitely,
But,
yes.
I look around and I see like the food, all the fast food stuff, and it's like they're poisoning people. It's quite, it's a shame.
I don't know why, Phils, but Pete's can vouch for me that it stuck in my mind what you said about, I don't eat that junk, basically. And you said it in a way that made me think, okay, because I'm eating it. What's wrong with it? You know what I mean? Kind of thing.
Don't know what you're missing.
Yeah. So, but I remember the green, it was the drink that he was having, it was green coloured and stuff like that. And you brought out this this lunchbox of stuff. And we did taste some of it. I remember you giving us some when we was tasting some of it and stuff like that. But that kind of stuck with me for many years and stuff. And now I eat very healthy now, you know what I mean, and stuff. And I always look out for ingredients now and stuff like that. And just as you say, my body feels so much better and my mind feels so much clearer as well and stuff. And I've only just got into the kind of exercises and stretching and stuff, which is why I watched your video. Now we're going to go on to this current time now, because the reason why I've been able to catch you, and I know what you do, but I've never had the pleasure of seeing it live, really, because you obviously are based in Shanghai. But now, because of this global event, we're all having to force to be in our houses now, whilst this kind of pandemic kind of like takes its course, and obviously, it's affected us in many, many ways. So this is where I'm going to come to you now. How has it affected you now since the start of this whole thing? And where was you when you first got wind of the news? Was you in London or was you in Shanghai?
So I was in London. But basically, let's rewind a little bit.
Okay.
Before Brits came to the UK, I was here. So I left Shanghai on the 24th of December, or the 23rd, just before Christmas. And I was meant to go back a month later. But then the virus was in China. So I decided to stay here, thinking that I wait for it to calm down in China,
Yeah.
and then I could go back. And, well, basically, it's this virus has spread all around the world. So basically, I've kind of been in lockdown for, since January, because I haven't really worked since January. I've been here, playing the waiting game,
Yeah.
deciding to go back. So only until the lockdown occurred that I decided to, to start teaching online.
Wow.
So that happened with a friend of mine, a guy called Rajesh, who I've known for many years. He's like a filmmaker. And we've been talking about, creating programs online. And so we both find ourselves on lockdown. So we just offer classes for free online. So, yeah, I started to offer these classes as something to do, and it keeps me busy as well.
I think, when I first tried yoga, it was many years ago, and I was quite active, quite young, going out here, going out there and stuff. So I found it, and I used to go to the gym as well sometimes as well. And I was used to doing like aerobic exercises, and I found it very slow paced to get into. So I kind of lost patience with it. And obviously in Blackmindsmatter as well, they do actually yoga classes. So the age group is what's the age group?
Oh, young, literally under 25s.
Yeah, and so they are quite young, but they're quite receptive to it now, which is really good. I think there's maybe a lot more information out there and stuff about the benefits. But for somebody, who's maybe, in this lockdown and they've maybe come across yoga for the first time and stuff, like what would you suggest to maybe younger people who are a lot more used to being very active? What's the way to kind of maybe try and get into it and understand the benefits that they can have from that?
Well, I suggest just to try a class first and be patient, because yoga is one of those things, especially for men, and in our world, everything's really competitive. Like we want to be really good, we want to be the best, or we try really hard. And the attitude when you come into yoga, you've got to kind of move that to one side, and it's just about kind of being with yourself, being with yourself, and doing what you can do, and then trying to be patient with it, because it's not a sport and it's not a competition, but it's just like it's about trying to find yourself, observing yourself, observing your body, observing your breath, paying attention to maybe what tightness you have in your body, so you're getting to know yourself in a different way. I would just suggest taking like a beginner's class. So you could do a class with me online. There are loads of offerings out there at the moment. If you go on Facebook or social media, there are a lot of people offering like yoga out there. There's all these yoga teachers who can't be in big groups anymore, so everyone's offering their services online. So
your class. Sorry, so go on.
Yeah, I would suggest just to try a class and be patient with yourself.
Your class, the videos that you're offering online just now, are they free? Where can people see it, and what kind of stage are you offering? Like, is it any kind of beginners, or what kind of what level are you starting at?
Yeah, so I'm offering classes that are for all levels. Most of the classes I'm offering. So you could be a beginner and you could still try the class, because it's really hard. I mean, I've not really taught in front of the computer before, so I'm kind of winging it as well and getting more used to the technology, because I'm used to having people around and touching people and helping them.
Yeah.
But now I'm kind of developing new skills of how to teach online. So, beginners can come to class, make it so that it's accessible for everyone. Well, we have a Facebook page called Pindu Yoga,
Can you spell that?
it's PINDU Yoga. And you can join the page, and then we post when the classes are. We do them live on Facebook, and we also have pre-recorded classes on YouTube. But all the information's on Facebook.
On your Facebook, yeah.
With all the chaos that's going on around the world, all the madness and stuff. Obviously, a lot of people going through some trying times at the moment now. Another thing, probably, which is good, is meditation. Do you have any tips and advice about how to meditate and what's the best way? How long? Because I'm one of them guys as well. When I used to try to meditate, I used to meditate for 2 seconds. Goes, it's too long. Let me just. I got things to do, kind of thing. Again, it's one of them things. As Pete said, is you need to kind of relax and kind of like take your time with, basically. So, in regards to meditation, can you let us know what the benefits are and what's the best way to kind of like relax and meditate?
So, basically, you can meditate for 5 minutes. You don't have to sit cross-legged.
Can you explain what is meditation for people who don't really know what it is?
What is meditation? So, basically, meditation is just finding a way to quiet your mind, to connect with your breathing, to find a bit of peace and clarity, just to kind of shut the chatter, what's going on in your mind. And basically, first sit down, we might be bombarded with thoughts and images, but we just sit for a moment and we try and focus on one point. So that might be just sitting and watching your breath. See if you can just spend 5 or 10 minutes observing how the breath is coming in through your nostrils, feeling your belly moving up and down, and then just staying still for 5 minutes. And one of my teachers said to me, you can meditate anywhere. You could be sat on the bus, and you could just close your eyes and then meditating, listening to the sounds around you, just becoming aware of the sounds around you. So it's just like being in the present moment. So try not to kind of retreat into the past, so like memories of the past and stuff, and then try not to be going into the future with the anxieties and fantasies of the future. So you just kind of try to be in the present moment. So I would suggest you just sit for a few moments and just make sure you're comfortable sitting up tall. So you want to keep your spine upright, and you want to keep space in the front of your body, space for your breath, space for your internal organs. And then just close your eyes and spend a few moments just kind of focusing on your breathing. And that's the kind of easiest way to start. There are many types of meditation. Meditation is also great for, to reduce stress. It's good for your immune system, for anxiety. There's many, many different benefits for meditators.
During this lockdown period, yourself, Fels, and obviously you're probably practicing exactly what you teach and stuff, but aside from you meditating or you stretching and doing yoga, what other things do you like to do to pass time? In fact, what music are you listening to right this minute?
What music? Well, today it was,
as in general, as in what's your theme? Because obviously now we've got all this time on our hands now. So what's on your iPod, so to speak?
Oh God, I got a lot of stuff on my iPod. So like it depends. I would listen to today I was listening to J. Cole. I was listening to Gangsta. So I went into the park today to practice. to do a bit of yoga, and then to do some aerobics training as well. So, and I was listening to Gangster.
See.
Yesterday I was listening to Goldie, so it just depends. I might be listening to some classical music. So I've been just catching up on, because I listen to music all the time so I've been listening to different types of classical music, hip hop. The other day I was listening to some rock music, but and just different types. The other thing I like to do as well is just to, because I'm a photographer, I've been riding around for my exercise, because we're allowed to go out for exercise, and I've been taking photographs of the scenery, so anything related to the COVID virus. They have a lot of signs up and billboards and the quiet streets. So I've been just kind of documenting this time.
Yes, unique, isn't it? It's a unique time.
Yeah. So that's been keeping me busy. And then just trying to go to bed early. I wake up really early.
Yeah,
what kind of time does the?
Yeah, I think because I'm sure Fel's messaged me and I looked at the time. I said 6 a.m. I saw 6 a.m.
Yeah, so I'm up by 5:36.
What's the is that a choice, or is that something that goes with a yogic life?
That's actually my choice at the moment. I'm always an early bird. I always like to get up early. You get more of the day. You get you get a lot of stuff done. And in the morning, your mind is very, fresh and clear. So if you've got a project on mind, you can start to work on your project. I like to sit for half an hour and meditate, and then I do my practice. I've been writing a little diary called the Lockdown Yoga Diary. So I've been working on that, kind of documenting how I'm feeling, writing down the sequences I've been teaching online. And then what I do is also the classes I'm teaching online, I will practice them after I've done my practice.
See.
So yeah, so I'm keeping really busy. And then I go to bed. I'll be in bed by 9 o'clock.
Oh gosh, that sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
I would love that.
This is a fantastic time to catch up and rest. People are always complaining that, they work too much and they're stressed. This is time just to kind of retreat. Use it, learn something or read something new. I love audiobooks, so I might go to bed at 9 and put on an audiobook,
You're just non-stop productivity. It's very inspiring. Yeah, go on.
Sorry.
Can I ask one more question before?
Yeah, I was going to ask actually, which is probably quite an important question to ask actually. What if the situation doesn't better itself? Because you being from Shanghai, basically, would probably raise a few concerns, basically. So, have you thought about that, basically, about having to be stuck here for possibly another 6 months?
I have, actually. When the virus was in China and I was stuck and I couldn't go back, I started to kind of work on my resume. And I started contacting studios over here to see if I could work.
See.
And then when the virus kind of pops up here, that was a no-go. So now I'm just in the flow, If it's 6 months, then it's 6 months. I just have to lay low.
Yeah.
Practice, and there's not much I can do about it, But I can't drive myself nuts about it. I just have to go with the flow.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Yeah.
I don't think somebody like yourself could ever be driven nuts with, with all your breathing and practicing and yoga stretching and everything.
Yeah, it does get to me though. A few days I woke up and I just felt really anxious,
Okay.
Yeah, it's anxious times, isn't it? It's different times, man.
And I didn't feel like doing anything. I woke up and I didn't doing anything. So I just said to myself, okay, don't do anything. Just go with it. And I spent the whole day just kind of moping around, watched a bit of TV, and then the next day it was fine,
Yeah. Sometimes you just have to just do what you say, as you say, do what your body's telling you sometimes, which is
Yeah.
sometimes is nothing, is a good thing.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily a bad thing, is it?
Yeah, it's hard for a lot of people. I mean, I'm used to kind of spending like time by myself. I'm used to being quiet for like 10 days, like doing yoga retreats or meditation retreats for 10 days without talking. I'm quite used to that. So I'm used to kind of like the isolation. So, I
So
mean,
this is
6
nothing
months.
for you then. This is nothing then.
Let's see how it goes.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
Not 6 months.
So, quick question. I know Pizza's going to hit you with the last question before, but I just thought I'd ask this before anyway. Fasting. Do you fast at all?
I do actually. I did maybe a month ago. I did 10 days.
10 days.
did.
Yeah, and I know like fasting for someone like yourself is probably something that has its obviously has its challenges, but you're able to deal with it over time and you're used to it now, and it's probably nothing to you. But someone like who's never fasted before, basically, what would you advise them? And they actually want to do some fasting. What's the best ways to kind of start fasting? Obviously, not do straight into 10 days. They probably collapse and stuff like that. But what would be the advice if you wanted to get into fasting? And again, what are the benefits?
So basically, you're cleansing your system, which is great. And you're giving your digestive system a break from digesting food all the time. And basically, you'll feel more energetic, maybe after a few days. But I would suggest that you maybe do a half a day fast. So maybe you miss breakfast, and maybe you miss lunch, and then you just have dinner. But keep dinner very light. You know, maybe don't have don't eat any heavy foods. So if you try to stay away from the meat and stuff, I would suggest, just maybe spend half a day, and then maybe do that maybe twice a week or something like that. And then later on, you might just do one day on a juice. But I would suggest you make your own juice, or one day just on water, and then see how you feel. And if once you've done the one day, if you feel great that you could manage the one day, then maybe progress to doing 2 or 3 days later on. But I would always start off with maybe half a day, miss breakfast and lunch, and then have dinner.
Okay, that's good.
And well, I guess let's just kind of wrap it up there. And if there's any kind of final words that you could say? I mean, there's a lot of people, young and old, different age groups. They've got a lot of kind of stress, anxiety. They're having trouble sleeping and things like that. I mean, to wrap it all up, the benefits of this kind of lifestyle. It's not just you do some stretching and then you go about, just go back to like whatever it was that you're doing and stuff. What is some of those kind of things that could really help people? If you could kind of just sum that up to leave it on a kind of like positive note and everything like that as well for those who maybe want to investigate this a bit further.
Yeah, I would say to be still and try not to panic, or just take a few moments. I mean, the stretching is great. It helps to calm the mind. Basically, I'm practicing yoga to calm the mind, but take a moment just to kind of reflect a little bit on what you have been doing. Take some time to rest your body, take time. And then try not to be stressed out by, the media and information that's being pumped out there. Maybe switch the TV off, take half an hour, sit, relax, breathe, eat well, enjoy the time with your family, really cherish the love you have for your family, and try to stay positive family. Love is great. It's fantastic. So try to love the people around you and care for them. Maybe look out for a neighbor or someone nearby. Just offer your love to someone else. So to receive love, you need to give love. So I would say just to be, help those around you who need help at this time.
Wise words from Fels. I like that, Fels. I like it.
Well, thank you so much for spending your time with us. This guy has been very, very humble. He's an international superstar in the yoga world, and I felt like I've been on a guided meditation listening to your voice. It's very soothing.
I'm sitting with crossed legs now, Fels. Trust me.
And some beads. But thank you so much. All the best, and I would love to maybe I don't know if you're going to share any of your things online. You're doing a journal. You've got those photographs. How can people see you if they want to check you out? What kind of links do you have that you can share?
Instagram, it's Fela Adebeyi on Instagram. I have quite a few pages on Instagram. I would have to share them with you. And
yes.
Yeah, we'll put them in the information below the podcast and the video.
Yeah. Video you can see on Pindu Yoga on Facebook.
Okay, that's great. That's good.
Okay, thanks so much. And all your links should probably be on your website.
And put the website. Everyone's got to check out the website. Some amazing pictures by Fels as well. Some amazing locations, bro. Amazing locations, man. Wow. So everyone check out the website as well.
All right, so enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much. Be safe and be well.
Thank you.
Take care, Fels. Speak to you soon.
Bye.
Bye. So apologies for the sound quality of this podcast, but I hope you will enjoy it nonetheless. So that was Fela Adebeyi. We'll drop all the information down below so that you can go and check out his live feeds and his photography and everything else. I hope you got some really good tips out of there. I don't know about you, but I certainly did. All right, so if you want to maybe leave your feedback, give us any tips or experiences that you want to share or leave a comment, then you can email us on info@blackmindsmatters.co.uk. I encourage you also to go to the website. You can sign up for the newsletter and participate with that, and see all the other content that we have on www.blackmindsmatters.co.uk. They also will be running some yoga information on there, so you can go and check that out on their social medias as well. Make sure you subscribe. And if you want to check out the latest government and healthcare guidelines for the most up-to-date information, then please do visit www.gov.uk, or you can go to www.wandsworth.gov.uk. Thank you so much. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe, and we will catch you on the next podcast show. Be safe and be well.
Cheers.
You're listening to the Black Minds Matters podcast in association with WCEN.